Critical reading, strategies, and example. So many times when I've worked with students, they've told me that they read, reread, and reread again, oftentimes an article or a chapter to try to capture the meaning of that article or chapter. The strategies that I'm going to go over with you today are very straightforward. And in the end, I think you will find that they will help you to become a more efficient and effective reader. This has been tried many, many times with students that I've worked with and that others have worked with, and it has led to extremely positive outcomes in terms of critical reading. So give it a try. We'll begin with the big picture and we'll work down to the detail level. Um, but in the end, this should save you time. So the first step is to just preview the title of what you're reading. Sometimes the title will give you clues about what that big picture is, and it's always good to start reading with the big picture. Next, we're going to check for any headings or subheadings. Usually the headings and subheadings are in bold or they're in a different kind of font that suggests to you that they're important to creating a section of ideas or to create main arguments. So before you start reading the entire article or chapter, read the headings and subheadings. After you've read the headings and subheadings, then read the introduction and the conclusion of the article or the chapter only. This will continue to build on the big idea of your reading, and it will ultimately save you time if you have this big idea in mind as you read the rest of the article or chapter. Now that you have the big picture of your reading, we're going to start tackling the body paragraphs. You should understand each paragraph before you move on to the next. And I want to explain what that means. You should understand the primary idea of the paragraph, even though you may not understand every word of the paragraph. So sometimes in academic articles or in chapters, there will be complex information about math formula, say in an economics article, or there'll be complex information that requires some kind of background learning that we might not have. First of all, you should know that everyone who reads academic articles or chapters in textbooks has this experience sometimes. So what you want to do is try to capture the main idea and be clear about that before you move on to the next paragraph. Once you have that main idea, write yourself a brief note, what we call an annotation, on the side of the paragraph so that you'll easily be reminded in the future what the purpose of that paragraph was. This process of writing these notes will save you time because you won't have to reread the article. You will have read it once and understood it, and you will have these notes for yourself to go back in case you need parts of the reading for exam preparation or for writing a paper. So, write a note. It's usually between, let's say, 3 and 5 words around there to remind yourself what the purpose of that paragraph was. As we work more on writing, you can think about, oh, what evidence might I use from this paragraph in my writing? And you can write your annotation accordingly. This is an example of how you would go about writing an annotation. So you can stop the video if you wish to read this paragraph. It's from Stephen Mancuso's book called The Revolutionary Genius of Plants. And it's this extensive scientific look at how plants learn and communicate and adjust to their environments. And this is just one paragraph from that book. But let's just say that we were assigned to read this chapter from the book for an exam or to write a paper on it. And so if you read through the paragraph, you can see that Mancuso is arguing that even though plants don't have brains, they do have the capacity to remember and learn and react. So you would want to capture that in your annotation so that if you were going back to write about plants and memory, for example, you could find this exact paragraph where you read about how plants do have memories even though they don't have brains. So what I would write simply by the side of this paragraph is brainless plants have memory. I wouldn't have to go back and reread the whole paragraph necessarily in the future. I could just look back on it if I need evidence from this chapter on memory and plants. Um, so you would go through and you can write these annotations in any way you wish. If you like printed copies of readings, you can write it on the side if you're able to do that with the books or articles you have, or you can do this as comments in a Word document. You could do it on a Google Doc. If you copy and paste your reading into a Google Doc, you could do it in PDF. However it works for you, write those annotations down. And if you don't have any way to write them on the reading, you could always use a notebook and just write paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and go through like that and write your annotations there. And then it would be a fairly straightforward process to find that part of the reading. Again, I want to mention how doing this the first time, reading carefully the first time you read something, will save you a tremendous amount of time later, especially if you have the tendency to read and reread articles or chapters.